put the handlebars together because I'm gonna have to run the throttle up there. Picked up some new hardware here because this old stuff was a little bit worn out. Engine went in kind of rough. It was kind of tough getting it in, but we got it. I had some help, but it is heavy now, so moving it around is now much more difficult than it used to be. Ooh, wow, that petcock is very close, but that's fine, because we're gonna end up putting a spacer here for now, just to get an idea. Oh, this is gonna be mean. Woo-hoo. Let's go. That's looking pretty badass, not gonna lie. Damn. The width of the tank really matches the engine well. I was a little worried the engine would stick out a lot, but it matches really nicely. And with about 1 inch of lift on the back of the tank, it gives it a nice angle and it clears perfectly. The petcock is just above, so this will run out right to the carbs right there and it'll be easily accessible. I know some guys on the forums will cut these edges off and then weld or bend them in or something like that to make a really clean look, but to be honest, I think I'm just gonna leave it. It's just too much extra work, and I think once it's painted, it'll look good. I'm gonna leave these tabs. I'm probably gonna use them as mounting points. And I'm thinking I'm gonna do some kind of like strip of fiberglass or something like that that comes back here and kind of does like this thing that connects to the seat. But I want to leave this open down here because I like that clean look, and I worked so hard to make that to make that nice and flat and clean. So I'm just gonna leave that. And it looks like the carbs will stay. Carbs will be a good fit too. So I gotta go ahead and grind that down a little bit, and then I'll put the swing arm back on. And then pretty much next step is electrical.
has been interesting. I have done my best to deburr this hole so that it's not cutting the wires, but I'm gonna go ahead and do a little sleeve kind of like protection kind of type thing just in case. But either way, yeah, so this is Handlebar electrical wiring. This part, this is Handlebar wiring. Got everything in. I did these first to make sure I could run them to the center because the M button is already in there. And if you're familiar with the M button, you really can't see it, but is essentially a little pill-shaped looking thing that has like 6 or 7 wires coming out of it, so that you can run less wires to the M unit in the back of the bike. So only one green wire will have to run down from this side of the handlebars, which will be really nice. It'll be just this one wire. Besides main power for lighting and stuff like that and whatnot. So, but yeah, it's not been too bad. I got the CDI boxes here, and I have the connectors done. They're nice and clean. So, and then I have the ignition wires here. So ignition electrical is done. Those don't have ground wires yet. I need to pick up some more ground eyelet, like little eyelets, so that I can do some more grounding points. I'm gonna do one here, and then I think I'm gonna do one here on this plate. Yeah, so I'm gonna see if I can finish it. It's pretty late, it's like 1 a.m. but I'm gonna see if I can finish up these handlebars real quick. I just want to get them done and out of the way, and have the handlebar controls ready to go. So, and then after that, set up the M unit and see, do a quick test, and then speedo and tack, and I need to do a fiberglass for the rear. Okay, so we have these two blue wires are a pair, and it says white here because there's a little white thing that comes from factory to separate which is which on here. And then the same with these ones. There's two yellow ones and there's a little white tab that comes on them, right? So one pair goes to one CDI box and one pair goes to the other CDI box. Essentially cylinders 3 and 2 and 4 and 1, right? Okay, and then this green wire is the neutral switch, which is grounded at that side. And then the black one is the oil pressure sensor, okay? Which is this right there. Right there is the oil pressure switch, or oil pressure sensor. This is a little rubber cap on it. Let's see if I can pull that off. It's kind of just get destroyed, so I'm probably replace that cap. I wanted the single strip. I wanted the triple strip, something a little bit brighter and bigger, but it is flexible. You can see that. But my plan is to embed it into make it a part of the cowl. So it'll be, you know, like inside the cowl. And then I'm gonna have either plexiglass or something. I wanna frost this so it has a frosted look so that you can't see the individual LEDs, but that's the plan. So, and then this is cheap. This is like on Amazon for $8 or something like that, but had really good reviews. It should be good and should last. I have not decided what I'm gonna do for a physical ignition switch yet, if I even want to do one. I probably should have one as a backup in case my phone dies and I can't start the bike. So if I do, I'm probably gonna hide it so it just makes it easier to protect from theft. My guess is I'll put the ignition switch somewhere in here, so you actually have to like reach up inside and like turn it. So it might be hidden behind one of these plates or up here somewhere. Most likely gonna put the regulator rectifier right there underneath here, so it gets good airflow, and it'll be hidden. You won't be able to see it, and it's pretty low profile. So, and I don't have the regulator rectifier for the LiPo yet. I just have the factory one. So all my testing is gonna be done with the old battery, not the LiPo battery. But they're the same, should be the same. Shouldn't make a difference once I have the new regulator rectifier. Guess we'll go ahead and get cracking on that and see if we can get this thing started up. I did pick up some gas, so we're pretty much ready to go. So going into this, I didn't realize how important it would be to have a really good seal on the boot between the carb and the engine. I mean, it seems pretty common sense, but I was like, you know, I put it as tight as I can. They look like they're gonna hold. It doesn't seem like there's any air leaks. It'll be fine for just a quick startup or whatever. And yeah, it started, but it did not run well. There was a little bit of runaway because it was sucking in extra air after the carbs, and it was sucking in air after the pods because the pods weren't tight enough. In fact, I don't even think I was using clamps, they were just fitted. So yeah, I was just like, you know, will it start, will it explode? And that was kind of where I was at when I pulled it out here. So this was the first start. Yeah, and it took a couple tries to get it to start. Used a little bit of starter fluid the first time, just sort of squirted a little bit into the carbs, and that's what really got it fired up. And I had a little bit of an issue with my petcock, but I got that sorted out. So you'll see it doesn't run super well, but it does run in this video. I got the intake leaks sorted, got the new clamps and everything for the boots, and it runs pretty well now outside of carb tuning. It was loud. It was really loud. I just had this the 4-into-1, no muffler, no, you know, nothing to make it quieter, and it was very loud. When I was starting it, I was like, oh, this isn't too bad. But when it caught and it actually started, wow. I was not prepared for the girth of the sound, to be honest. right there you heard it die. That's because it wasn't getting enough fuel to match the amount of air it was sucking in after the carbs or something like that. Because after I fixed that, it didn't do that anymore. So but yeah, it is aggressive sounding. Without the muffler, it sounds like it wants to bite somebody's head off. But I kind of like it. It's not too bad. I did create my own muffler later on using the old one, and I think it has a pretty nice tone, to be honest. It's gutty, but it's not. It doesn't turn it into a sewing machine, so that's good. I had a little bit of issue with the carbs after I got the intake leaks fixed. I got a little bit of junk stuck in the needles, and I would have just taken them apart myself, but I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I didn't have carbs when I bought this bike. It came without them, and the cost of getting decent condition OEM carbs and buying a twin carb like performance kit from Maraise was about the same cost or close enough, after counting time required to fix them. So I went ahead and just bought a set of twin carb kit, performance kit from Maraise Carbs. A lot of people saying good things about them, so I decided to give them a chance. And they did pretty much start right up. But I ended up getting some junk stuck in the needle somehow, and they insisted on me sending the carbs back so that they could take them apart. So that's what I did, and that's part of the reason this video has been on hold for so long, and the other video, because I kind of didn't hear from them for like a month. I mean, they're a small company. I know they're busy. I wasn't nagging them or anything. I was like, when you have time, but within reason. They finally got back to me, so I should be getting those carbs within the next week of this being posted. So, yeah, there should be some major progress in the next month. Once that's in, I'm gonna clean up the rear suspension. I'm changing the length of one of the linkages just a little bit to make it a bit softer and have better rebound. It works, but it's a little on the harder side, and the rebound isn't great. But I mean, if you've ridden a hardtail, it's nothing compared to that. Besides that, strip down and paint, put it back together. It's pretty much where it's at. I picked up a new sewing machine, so I'm gonna attempt to make the seat myself. We'll see how that goes. This is me running it with the exhaust. This is the muffler that came with the 4-in-1, and I didn't like it at all. It made the bike sound like a sewing machine. I ended up hacking it up and using some of the internals of that muffler to make my own baffle, and that worked pretty well. I did like that, and I'll post a video of what that sounds like after I get the carbs back. I did ride the bike to the shop after I think it was later this week. I rode it to the shop. That was like the virgin ride. It was actually pretty good. The bike handled pretty well, aside from the rear being a little on the hard side. Throttle was snappy. It was quicker than I anticipated, to be honest. But it felt pretty agile. The front suspension and brakes were so good. So good. I mean, I haven't ridden a lot of 80s and 70s UGMs, but man, this 2007 Gixxer front end on this older bike it's got to be a huge upgrade. I mean, it felt so good, and the rake felt pretty good too. It wasn't too twitchy, and I was thinking I might need a damper, but I may not. It feels pretty good. I did 65, nothing crazy. I was still in town, so didn't want to go too fast. But it felt pretty good at speed. I was thoroughly surprised. I didn't die. I was a little scared that something would fall off and I would explode or something, but it went well. And good news is good news, I guess.